Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Wednesday. This is what January is supposed to feel like.
And then reality set in. Yes.
Absolutely. We're not used to this.
No, it's true. We aren't.
So
no.
dig out the coats.
At least it was sunny today. That helped.
And it's just going to be short-lived, apparently. So we'll get to the weather in just a bit. First, here's what's making news on this Wednesday. Meet Matt LaFleur. He is the new coach of the Green Bay Packers. Jay Wilson has his introduction.
It is day 19 of the partial government shutdown, and despite face-to-face meetings in Washington, there is no sign of any compromise.
And Wisconsin's new governor introduces some changes in the way he wants schools funded. Rose Schmidt will be here with that story.
Let's take a look outside on this Wednesday afternoon. It was sunny to start, but bitterly cold.
Yeah, but here's one way to keep warm, I guess. Wearing shorts?
He's in shorts.
Wow.
That's brave.
Brave soul.
Must be near campus.
That might be your son.
Yeah, could be.
Back to normal. The weather words, and Dana Fulton's in the backyard, bundled up.
It definitely feels like January outside right now. There's no doubt about that. I don't know how much you could pay me to get me to run outside in shorts right now. We're going to wait a few months before that comes around. It's going to be a little milder by the weekend, but it's certainly near normal for us today. Downtown, a really beautiful clear sky. We hit a high of 20 this afternoon. So a little below average, but still quite seasonal outside. Overall, we started the day at 14, so not a big move in our temperatures at all, actually. The southeast corner of the state saw some flurries just in the last few hours, but pretty much everyone's quiet right now. We'll stay pretty quiet overnight. Still a bit of a breeze currently, which is a little bitter with these temperatures. We're at 19 in Madison, 23 in Janesville, and about 21 currently in Monroe, with the breeze still coming from the northwest at about 13 miles per hour in Madison, and it is just cutting through whatever you may have on. It's cold outside. Our temperatures over the next few hours will drop into the teens. Plan on another chilly day tomorrow, but we are looking towards the mid-20s for afternoon highs rather than being right at 20 degrees. It'll be a little more seasonal for us as we head into your Thursday forecast. We'll take a look at that in just a few minutes. Right now, of course, let's hop on the roads and see what's going along with our first alert traffic update. A lot of green, which is always good to see. This is Washington right at 2nd Street. You can see a few cars backed up at the light and the sun shining right into the traffic camera for us. Overall, 39 looks okay. If we take a little closer look to the Beltline in downtown, we are seeing quite a slowdown there near Fish Hatchery Road and towards John Nolan, and then things clear up on the eastbound side as you get closer to 51 and 39. Near Janesville, speeds are all right. Same goes near Fort Atkinson and much of Jefferson County. And if we bounce up towards Sauk County, and near Portage and Baraboo, seeing green along the major arteries right now. Drive time should be pretty close to usual for Janesville to the Beltline, 26 minutes. Middleton to Sauk City, 16 and 15 for downtown to Sun Prairie. It's going to be a little cold if you need to go start up the car right now, and definitely make sure you have your shades on hand because sunset's still about 40 minutes away, and we have a clear sunny sky right now, so that'll be the only issue with your drive home.
Yeah, could be worse.
Could be much worse.
Days are getting a little longer
Yeah, they are
already.
slight when I leave here at 5.
Yeah.
All right, Dana. We'll see you in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Dana. First at 4, the Green Bay Packers formally introduced their new head coach this afternoon.
That's something they haven't done for quite a while. Sports director Jay Wilson is here with the new coach.
Yeah, been around for a while, you remember. But it's been a while.
Yeah. What, 13 years?
Yeah, well, hopefully it won't be another couple before it happens again. It's been 13 years since the Packers have had to introduce a new head coach, but they did today. 39-year-old Matt LaFleur has only been coaching in the NFL for a little over a decade and never as a head coach, but he's been picked to breathe life into the Packers offense and the team in general after they missed the playoffs the last 2 seasons. LaFleur is a trendy pick for an NFL head coach, young, energetic, offensive-minded, but the biggest question of all, how will he mesh with one of the greatest players of all time, quarterback Aaron Rodgers?
I did have the opportunity to talk to Aaron, and I'll tell you what, I cannot wait to, get to work with him. I think he's equally as excited, and yeah, there's a lot of work to be done in front of us, but just looking forward to that opportunity. There's an incredible amount of talent here, and it all, obviously, anytime you got a quarterback of the caliber of Aaron Rodgers, certainly we're going to have high expectations.
And just for some reference, when Mike McCarthy was hired as the Packers head coach in 2006, McCarthy was 42 years old, while then quarterback Brett Favre was 36 years old. And just 2 years later, the Packers were playing in the NFC Championship game, so perhaps age is just a number.
That's what I say.
They got him at the pro shop for a green tie. That's a good thing.
That was quick. And McCarthy had never been a head coach before either, had he?
Right, and you know, if you remember back, it was a name that really nobody had heard of when they announced that he was going to be the head coach, much like Matt LaFleur a week ago. Nobody knew that he even existed, but he's now in charge, and he's a young guy driving the car, so here we go.
Welcome to Green Bay. It's kind of exciting.
All right, Jay, thank you.
Thank you, Jay. President Trump went to Capitol Hill today to shore up support for his border wall demands, but the partial government shutdown, now on day 19, still seems far from over. Nicole Killian has more from Washington.
Democratic leaders emerged from the White House yet again with no solution to the partial government shutdown, which is now at day 19.
He sort of slammed the table, and when Leader Pelosi said she didn't agree with the wall, he just walked out and said, "We have nothing to discuss."
President Donald Trump tweeted that the meeting was a, quote, total waste of time as Democrats spoke to the press. Afterwards, Vice President Mike Pence and Republicans emerged, and they say the president is standing firm on his demands for a border barrier.
There will be no deal without a wall. There will be no deal without the priorities the president has put on the table.
Earlier, President Trump was on Capitol Hill to rally Senate Republicans.
There was no discussion about anything other than solidarity. We want national security and border security.
Roughly 800,000 federal workers are not receiving paychecks this week. Congressional Republicans and the White House say they will be paid eventually.
We can reimburse the federal worker, and I know it's going to be inconvenient and financial hardship, and I hate that.
Furloughed government workers joined Democrats on Capitol Hill this morning to say enough is enough.
We want this shutdown lockout to end this very minute.
But with both sides dug in on opposite sides of a border barrier, there still seems to be no end in sight. In Washington, Nicole Killian for WISC News 3.
President Trump is traveling to Texas tomorrow to visit the southern border.
More changes appear to be in store for the Justice Department. CBS News confirms that Deputy Director General Rod Rosenstein plans to resign once the new Attorney General is in place. For a year and a half, Rosenstein has been the top Justice Department official overseeing Special Counsel Robert Mueller's probe into Russian interference in the 2016 election.
It's deeply concerning, particularly when we have an acting Attorney General who's so hostile to the Mueller investigation.
I know that Deputy Attorney General had always planned to stay around 2 years. He would like to help with the transition of bringing the new Attorney General in.
Senate confirmation hearings are scheduled to begin next week for William Barr. That's President Trump's choice to replace Jeff Sessions. Barr met with several key senators today on Capitol Hill. And Governor Evers says he's hoping to work with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle on education.
In his first announcement about public schools today, state lawmakers are making recommendations for school funding, and our Rose Schmidt is in the news center to tell us what they're proposing. Rose?
Yes, well, a bipartisan legislative task force is calling for the state to fund schools 2/3 of their total costs. That's something Governor Evers campaigned on, proposing a funding increase of $1.4 billion. Today, Evers announced the creation of the STAR Student Program, which would allow Wisconsin teachers to recognize excellent children for their accomplishments. Evers was non-committal on whether his budget will include recommendations made last week by a task force on school funding. They're calling for significant spending hikes and allowing property taxes to go up. Senator Howard Markline is on the commission, says he's looking forward to working with Evers.
I've said it 100 times during the campaign and probably as many times since, is that what's best for our kids is best for our state and our state's democracy.
Governor Evers has certainly had a very conciliatory tone. He wants to work together. I think he's identified some of the key issues that I campaigned on as well.
Governor Evers also spoke at a luncheon for Wisconsin Bankers Association today, saying he intends to follow through on other campaign promises, including those on criminal justice reform and health care. And Evers says he plans to visit Lincoln Hills Youth Prison on Friday to visit inmates and staff, and says he will send a letter to Attorney General Josh Kaul this week calling for Wisconsin to change its stance in a lawsuit to repeal the Affordable Care Act. The Republican legislature made a change in state law in December requiring Kaul to seek approval from state lawmakers before he withdraws from that lawsuit.
Governor Evers, a busy second day, matching the first. All right, Rose, thank you.
Thank you, Rose. Well, while we wait for snow here, fierce winter weather is blasting Europe this week. At least 24 people have been killed, many dying in avalanches. Parts of Europe could face 10 feet of snow in the next few days. Skiers in the Alps are being ordered off the slopes at the height of the tourist season. Authorities have issued the highest avalanche warning possible for some regions after snow slides killed several people. When an avalanche hit near some train tracks, workers rushed to dig that antelope out that couldn't wait to be free.
That's where the snow is.
Yeah.
Well, a veterinarian in Springfield, Virginia received a gift of unwanted crawling critters from her Christmas tree this holiday. Molly Cruz brought a real Christmas tree for the holidays and found an egg case hidden under the branches of the tree. Soon, over 100 praying mantises hatched and were crawling all over her house. Now, instead of vacuuming them up, Cruz has been using an envelope and shoebox to store the manatees. Mantises, that is. She's been feeding them fruit flies and is hoping to re-gift them. She says they're good for eating other insects and for organic gardening. Molly says next year she's getting an artificial Christmas tree. Yikes.
Well, she is a veterinarian, so she's taking good care of them.
Saving the critters.
Yeah.
Well, still to come at 4, connecting kids and bikes.
We'll find out more about free bikes for kids Madison and how your child can get a bike as well.
That's a lot of bikes.
That's when Live at 4 continues.
Well, the founder and CEO of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, and his wife Mackenzie are divorcing after 25 years of marriage.
The 54-year-old billionaire is the world's richest person thanks to his stake in Amazon, which became Wall Street's most valuable company this week, surpassing Microsoft. The couple says they decided to divorce after a long period of, quote, loving exploration and trial separation, but expect to continue as partners in joint projects.
Stocks closed higher with help from the tech sector. The Dow Industrials gained 91 points, closing at 23,879. The NASDAQ Composite Index was up 60. The S&P 500 added 10. Well, Free Bikes for Kids Madison is an organization that believes any kid who wants a bike should have access to a bike.
The nonprofit, now in its third season, plans to refurbish and donate bikes to 2,500 area youth this spring. And it will start this weekend by collecting gently used bikes this Saturday at 6 Dane County locations. We'll tell you where in just a minute. Andy Quad is the executive director of Free Bikes for Kids Madison. Andy, good to see you.
Hey, good to see you.
It does seem like every kid who wants a bike should be able to have a bike.
Yeah, I think so. You know, that feeling that so many of us have had isn't accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to make sure it happens for everyone.
So how does this happen? Tell us the process.
The process is we do a collection event, which is coming up this Saturday, and then we bring all the bikes into one central workshop location, and over the next 10 weeks, we'll be having a huge volunteer effort. So people are encouraged to go online, fb4kmadison.org. You can register as an individual to volunteer to help. We refurbish every single one of them, and then we have a 2-day giveaway event at the end of it.
Oh, that's wonderful. What kind of bikes are you looking for?
Man, we'll take anything. We do have a lot of bigger kids, so adult bikes work just fine.
Okay.
But we ask for gently used because, you know, it is a big effort to make sure that everyone is, refurbished and safe and reliable.
Do you have to be pretty handy to be a volunteer, or do you do a little training on site?
That's a great question. No, we help you with that. We need a lot of cleaners, so no experience necessary. And we have a couple of different, experience levels, but we'll find a spot for you.
How did this all get started?
It started in Minneapolis. This guy Terry started it with his ride group. They gave away, 25 bikes the first year, and then 100 the next, and it's grown from there. We're the 4th chapter in the United States. And now his job is popping up chapters all over the United States.
Oh, that's wonderful. How many bikes did you give away last year?
Last year we gave away 1,100 bikes, but our community partners that we give to asked us for 2,500, which is how we set our goal for this year. And I suspect I'll need to collect about 3,000 to get that done.
And that's how people get the bikes. They don't go through your organization specifically.
Correct, yeah. We have community partners that are already working with kids in the area, and we work with them to figure out who gets the bikes and how and arrange it all. And so we don't give directly to individuals. We only give to organizations.
What is that day like when you give the bikes away? That must be so inspiring.
Yeah, it really is. That's where you really get to see the smiles. It's kind of like, I like to think of it, we're a smile factory.
That's a good gig to have.
It is. It's a great gig to have.
And all the bikes are free.
Yep. Yeah, the kids, that if they're a member of one of these organizations, then they should have an opportunity to get a bike.
And this is the second biggest organization in the country for the Bikes for Kids.
That's correct. Minneapolis is doing, 5,000 and almost 10,000 a couple of years ago. This will be the second biggest if we're able to, do better than we did last year.
Well, this is such a great biking community, and bikes are getting expensive for kids.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
When you outgrow them, this is a great opportunity to give them a second life.
Yeah, giving kids access to the wonderful infrastructure that we've worked so hard on in Madison is a huge part of it too. There's a lot of freedom out there to share.
Every kid should have a bike.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, here's where you can go this Saturday if you'd like to volunteer.
Or if you have bikes to donate.
To donate a bike is what we don't have that information. All right.
Oh.
Well, it's let's see here. Meritor Clinics, Unity Point Health Meritor Clinics between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. on Saturday. They're in Stoughton and Monona and DeForest and Deming Way in Madison and McKee Road in Madison, Fitchburg, Research Park, all sorts of places. So you can go online, right?
Yep, you can go online to fb4kmadison.org or find us on Facebook. It's all up there too.
All right. Good luck. Get lots of bikes in.
All right, we appreciate it.
Keep up the great work. Great to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Spring is coming.
Yes, it is.
Spring is coming.
Can you hear me now?
When we come back, cell phones have come a long way, and there's promises of even more things they'll be able to do.
5G is expected to make our phones much faster. I'm Sina.
Sorry about that. What happened to the graphic?
Las Vegas, and I'll show you what's expected to be the first 5G device to hit the market.
Take a look at this video shot in the French Alps. It shows an incredible, daring helicopter rescue. A group of skiers called for help after a member of their party became injured. Mountain police responded to the scene roughly 6,500 feet above Passy, France. What unfolded was something out of a movie. With amazing precision, the pilot was able to hover mere inches from the mountainside. Watch this. That's some flying there.
That's incredible.
The man was safely hoisted into the helicopter and flown to the hospital where he's expected to make a full recovery.
Wow, that is some talented flying.
That is some precision flying,
cool.
yep.
Today is Wednesday, January 9th. It is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, a day to thank officers of every rank and file for all they do for our communities.
Indeed.
Absolutely. It's also National Static Electricity Day. It's shocking. That's what happens when you wear a sweater dress.
Why does that
It's so
happen?
dry.
You're the scientist.
I am. Just the transfer of the charges.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You
And the air's so dry right now. That's the other big factor, too, that you can tell.
Hate going across a rug and touch a cat.
Yes, yes.
Why do cats give you shocks?
Usually their hair's thinner. It's drier
okay.
than a dog. Dog has more oil in its hair.
We have all sorts of answers today.
Try me again. Let's go.
It's National Apricot Day. It's similar to its popular relative, the peach. Apricots have smooth skin and perhaps most popular in its dried form. You can dry them, you can can them, you can eat them fresh, right off a tree, or cook them up. A couple of apricots has 60% of the daily allowance of vitamin A and 26% of vitamin C.
They're very good for you. Go ahead, have some.
So these are dried?
Yeah. They're really good. You've never tried one before, is that right?
Now I know why.
No, you don't like them? No, I think you'd be a convert.
Yeah, well, they're okay.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Yeah, they're fun. Happy Apricot Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need the vitamin C these days.
You definitely need the vitamin C these days. It's a little cold outside. I think there's a bug going around the newsroom as well.
Yes, it is. Sweeping the newsroom.
Sweeping the newsroom across. Right, so today we're mostly sunny and a little cold outside. It's going to be a little more seasonal for us tomorrow. We'll take a look at your forecast right after the break. I hope you had a beautiful day, enjoying the sunshine, maybe the cold air. I started off the day actually with Clark Street Community School. I had an awesome school visit with these students, full of amazing questions. This is their atmospheric science class, and we really had a great time together. Of course, it was cold outside, so we had to stay inside during the school visit, but overall, it really was a fantastic visit. And I love doing school visits, so if you or anyone you know may be interested in trying to set one up, there's my contact information. Email's very straightforward, dfulton@wisctv.com, on Twitter and Facebook as well. Please feel free to shoot me a message. I've got to admit, these were high schoolers, and they had some great questions. The little kids are also a lot of fun, though, because some of their questions, if turtles can get sucked up into tornadoes, you never know what kind of questions little kindergartners are going to ask. So there's my contact information. The visit today, again, with Clark Street Community School was fantastic. Thank you to them for inviting me out to talk a little bit about what's going on in the atmosphere. Right now, our atmosphere is actually pretty calm for us in southern Wisconsin. We did see a few small flurries towards the southeast corner of the state, but overall, everyone kind of enjoying a quiet day for us. Not seeing anything really expected to move in as we head overnight. Overall, our high pressure is actually keeping us a little cold. That northwest breeze continuing, not nearly as windy as what we had yesterday, but it's still a little breezy outside right now. Certainly enough that you're going to notice the breeze if you do step outside, and the wind chill is going to be a factor for us through this evening and for the start of tomorrow. The wind chill just keeping things a little crisp outside. In the last 24 hours, our temperatures have dropped quite a bit. A 17-degree drop for us in Madison and Watertown, 16 degrees cooler compared to this time yesterday in Janesville, and an 11-degree drop in Mineral Point. So you probably needed the thicker jacket outside today. Likely going to need that if you have any outdoor plans this evening. In the last 24 hours, our peak wind gusts have finally calmed down just a little bit, but still very gusty outside. Of course, some of these from last night, but close to 29 miles per hour for us in Madison. Our current wind chill puts us at 6 degrees outside. I was just outside, even though our temps are actually closer to 20. Was our high today. I think we're sitting close to 19 right now, but it feels like 6 in Madison. It feels like 9 in Mineral Point and 8 in Platteville. So a very cold evening. If you are going to step out, know that our temps are going to continue to fall through the teens, but it is going to feel very chilly outside, and our temperatures are going to continue to fall to feel close to 0 by the time we get into tomorrow morning. Looking at our future track, notice tonight is going to be nice and quiet. Overnight, we're going to fall close to 11, still not breaking that single-digit mark just yet. It's been a long time since we've had actual temperatures in the single digits. Tomorrow morning, we will be at 11 degrees, but it is going to feel like we are at 0 or even colder, below 0 for us. So please bundle up early in the morning, especially if you're spending little ones, of course, to the bus stop. Throughout the day on Thursday, we will see sunshine. Friday will start off cold again, and we will have some sunshine for your Friday afternoon, and temperatures will become a little warmer or a little more mild in the low 30s for afternoon highs. Notice how our wind direction shifts as well. Tomorrow morning, again, our temps are going to feel like we are in the single digits, close to 0. It is going to be very cold outside to start the day. 11's our overnight low. Our breeze is going to stay anywhere from 8 to 15 miles per hour to start off the day. It's going to be very cold outside early in the morning. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny and seasonal outside with temperatures in the mid-20s. That's close to average. Not quite as mild as what we had earlier this week, but I think we were a little spoiled with that weather. In the mid-20s for your Thursday, and then notice we are going to hop closer to the mid-30s by the time we get towards the weekend. So still cool outside, but that'll actually be above average. Again, average is in the mid-20s for us. And as we head into next week, temperatures will stay above average. Not looking at very many chances for snow, actually. That chance for us late Friday into Saturday morning is just a light chance. And we won't have another one until we get to the middle of next week. So things staying fairly dry and quiet and actually mild for the next several days.
And the days are getting longer?
The days are getting longer.
The sun is still up.
Hey, there we go. Yes, we have some sunshine. A lot of time to enjoy the sunshine, of course. Since winter solstice, we've added just about 10 minutes of daylight, I believe.
In the evening, not in the morning. It's still dark.
No, it's still dark in the morning, but we have added it in the evening as our sunset continues to get just a little later every day.
Do turtles get sucked up by tornadoes? I want to know now.
We need to know. So a small turtle definitely could. I imagine that would cause some damage. But think about it. If a car or semi can get sucked up, then I think a turtle and a tortoise is going to be just fine.
Good questions, though.
I know. they need to dig down into the mud with the turtles. But yes,
well, if they get the tornado warning, they got to dig in.
They got to dig in. The tornado's got to go down. So I'm working on my tornado warning for turtles system. I'll let you guys know when I patent that.
Very good. We knew her when.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dana.
Thank you, Dana.
A lot of buzz at the annual Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas is about 5G.
The high-speed internet is expected to not only make our phones faster, but help cars drive on their own. CNET's Kara Suboy explains.
This Motorola Z3 smartphone is expected to be the first on the market with the power of 5G.
Well, all you have to do is attach the 5G modem mod to a Z3 device, and instantly the consumer then will have 5G service on their phone.
At CES, Motorola's Doug McCow showed us the 5G adapter that will be available in the coming months. How much faster is it?
Yeah, so basically you're getting 10 times faster speed than the networks today.
Eventually, 5G could be up to 100 times faster than current 4G speeds. Several companies are promising the high-tech upgrade in the near future.
The applications are limitless.
CNET's Roger Chang says providers are installing the new small cell towers that carry 5G, and this fifth-generation technology will do more than make browsing and downloading quicker.
When we went from 3G to 4G, we enabled all kinds of new apps, things like Uber, Airbnb, live streaming on Facebook. Those things did not exist without 4G. We couldn't even conceive of those apps before it happened. With 5G, I think the real promise is apps that haven't even been figured out yet.
It could also make full self-driving cars a reality, allowing them to talk to each other. Samsung is developing technology to do even more.
So if there's an accident 2 miles down the road, with the power of 5G, that information is going straight to the network from the infrastructure and straight to my vehicle, and I'm getting alerts right here on the dash.
5G will roll out in the next few months in several large cities, but it may be a couple of years before it's widely available. In Las Vegas, I'm CNET's Kara Suboy for CBS News.
Boy, it's a brave new world, isn't it? 5G can also replace internet service in your house. Verizon is currently offering 5G home service, replacing the need for cable or fiber-based internet.
It's only 25 years old. Look at the advances in that time.
It's hard to keep up with, isn't it?
It really is. So we'll do our best here at Live at 4 to keep you informed. And while we're on the topic of cell phones, young people are using their phones more and more.
Now, how they use their phones could help divert a tragedy, tracking depression through an app. The latest technology and the ethics behind it. We'll talk about that when Live at 4 continues. The sun is setting on this Wednesday afternoon, a little later than we normally see
a little
it.
bit every day.
Beautiful day coming to an end at the UW Memorial Union Terrace. Young people, as you know, are spending more and more time on digital devices, and that can lead to added stress and depression.
But now a new app could actually lead to helping teens online and warn parents of possible psychological problems. Like many teenagers around the country, Laurel Foster uses her phone a lot.
I use Instagram, I use Snapchat. I definitely use social media probably more than I should.
But all of that connectivity can come at a price. Studies have linked heavy smartphone use with worsening mental health among teenagers.
At least half of my grade has struggled with depression. I mean, at age 15, I feel like that's not very good.
It's not only anxiety. Government data shows that teenage and young adult suicide rates and depression have risen in recent years.
It's not clear why this prevalence is increasing.
But the very device contributing to tech-age angst could now be a tool to measure mental health.
If we can have an algorithm that in kids predicts the onset of depression by a change in their smartphone usage or mobility or how they're responding to certain pushed questions on a smartphone, then we have an opportunity to start to develop, again, technology-based prevention programs.
It asks who they're with right now. And
in an ongoing Stanford University study, researchers have installed an app that tracks phone activity, changes in typing speed, voice tone, word choice, and how often kids stay home are among smartphone signals that preliminary studies suggest might be linked with depression. Study participants also answered questions on how they're feeling on the app. After a live-stream suicide last year, Facebook programmed its AI systems to flag certain words or phrases in online posts. But measuring a teen's private activity raises concern.
It's the thorny ethical issue that we're really going to have to work out to determine what is that teen's right to their freedom of mind. Do they have a right, and I think they do, to not be under constant surveillance?
It's okay. It's me trying my best, Mom.
Back in San Francisco, Foster is in her 5th year of participating in the study. Researchers say the ultimate goal would be to offer real-time help with automated text messages or alerts to parents.
It made me feel pretty good because, I feel like a lot of teens don't acknowledge their emotions, and I feel like actually seeing them and saying, okay, I am stressed, what can I do about that, is a pretty healthy mechanism for coping with your stress.
Digital footprints, giving researchers new insight into growing up in a digital and stressful world. I think this problem is just going to keep getting worse.
I think every little bit helps. That's a really interesting idea. And that teen, she's so right. It's so hard for teens to express their feelings. It's pretty brave of her to even participate in this study. We'll have to follow that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very interesting. Yeah. So, still to come at 4, the UW Hospital is a pioneer when it comes to organ transplants.
Now, a transplant surgeon there has written a book about the history and effectiveness of organ transplants. A conversation with him when Live at 4 continues.
Overall, things are actually looking good on the roadways right now. We have Washington and 2nd Street right here, and everything seems to be looking smooth at this time. And if we take a look at the bigger picture right now throughout much of Dane County, we are seeing a lot of green throughout 39, also onto 151, and much of 14 actually looking okay from Cross Plains all the way down through downtown. Again, speeds seem to be all right. The places that we usually see slowdowns near Fish Hatchery Road towards John Nolan, also in downtown Madison. We are seeing those usual delays at this time. But the good news, there are no accidents right now. Down towards Janesville, also seeing a lot of green. Same goes near Fort Atkinson. And if we look up towards Baraboo and Portage, green in that direction as well. Drive times are delayed from Verona Road to John Nolan. Of course, average speed there down to 31 miles per hour. But from University Avenue to Verona Road and from John Nolan to 39 and 90, all of that along the Beltline should be fairly smooth for you right now.
All right, Tina, thank you. As a transplant surgeon at UW Hospital, Dr. Josh Mesrich created life from loss, transplanting organs from one body to another.
For the past 3 years, Dr. Mesrich has been working on a book about the awe-inspiring achievements and the human side of modern-day medicine. The book is called When Death Becomes Life, Notes from a Transplant Surgeon, and it will be released next Tuesday, January 15th. Dr. Mesrich, welcome to Live at 4. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you so much.
Boy, awe-inspiring is right. I cannot imagine a more challenging or rewarding career. Why did you decide to write a book about it?
You know, it's kind of what you just said. The field is really incredible, and I've always been fascinated by our patients and their stories. I think what's special about transplant is that we have the donors, both living and deceased, and they're true heroes. And this beauty that can come out of sometimes tragedy is amazing. I also think there's so much innovation. When I think about it, transplant was science fiction in the 1940s. Right. It was pretty crazy in the 50s and 60s. And then by the 80s, it was a very reliable field.
When was the first transplant performed, heart transplant?
Well, the first successful heart transplant was December of 1967 in Cape Town, South Africa.
Boy, that's so recent, yeah.
There were other transplants before that.
That's right. The first successful kidney transplant was in 1954 in Boston, but it was between identical twins, two brothers. Immunosuppression was barely known about. But over the 50s into 60s, people just kind of hammered through and figured it out with so much loss. But with these incredible pioneers, they were able to make it work.
Is the book about patient stories, or is it about your personal journey?
It's really all of those things. So I like to think of the book as sort of 3 parts. It's part memoir. I say in the beginning I'm actually a little too young to write a memoir, but I don't feel that way always. But so it's part memoir, and I really want my readers to understand what it's like to do what we do, what it's like to be a surgeon. But then it's part patient stories, both donors and recipients. And then it's part history. And I was able to fly around and meet with most of the pioneers who were still alive at the time and really understand how they were able to do what they did.
In such a short period of time, such advancement, it's amazing.
It's really, I mean, I think it's a story that should make everyone super proud, the accomplishments, both from the patients and the pioneers. It's really a remarkable story.
You're also very forthright in the book about your human flaws. I mean, these are human beings performing these miracles.
Right.
And it doesn't always work out.
It doesn't always work out. I really wanted to be really honest in this book. I really wanted to write it for people outside the field to understand what it's like. But I wanted to be honest about my own journey. And it's not always easy, and you don't always make the right decision.
Yeah.
And losing a patient's got to be tough on all concerned.
It's extremely tough. It's a challenging field, but I like to tell people actually the calmest part is when you're in the operating room, because you're kind of in control, everything's in front of you. But the challenges are often outside the operating room when you're trying to decide how to manage things and deal with things that aren't going the right way.
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
They're becoming more and more successful at this.
Yeah, I mean, transplants go really well. Like, just for an example, a living donor kidney, the 1-year survival is over 97%. Wow. Each organ has its own survival curve. A liver's a little bit more difficult, but the 1-year survival is over 90%. So we've come a long way.
But the UW program is so amazing that it almost starts to feel like transplants are routine. And they are anything but.
You're right. I mean, you're so right the way you said that. We should all be really proud with the program we have here. It's an incredible program. But kidneys have become almost routine. We do more than 300 a year.
And you also delve into the ethics of some of this. You ask your students, should an alcoholic get a liver?
Right. So I think another reason to write the book is transplant deals with like every amazing ethical issue you can imagine. We have a shortage of organs. We have to allocate. We have to decide who can get an organ and who can't. We have what is death, what is brain death, you know, when can someone donate. So those are all things we're faced with every day as we practice in our field.
And they're all issues that you always think, well, that'll never affect me. It'll never happen to me. And it's sort of universal to all of us.
You're absolutely right. And maybe if one thing that comes out of this book is people think about this and think about what they might want if they were to get sick, that's probably a good thing, you know, for all of us.
Yeah, it's a fascinating book, fascinating subject, Doctor.
Here it is, When Death Becomes Life, Notes from a Transplant Surgeon. It'll be available everywhere where books are sold.
On Tuesday. Doctor, thanks for being with us today. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Great to see you. Keep up the great work.
We'll be right back with a final check, your forecast. Bundle up.
Yes, not only for this evening, but for tomorrow morning as well. We're in for a mostly clear night. Right now, it's about 19 degrees in Madison with a bit of a breeze coming from the northwest at about 13 miles per hour right now in Madison. That puts our wind chill a little closer to 6. Planning on some sunshine tomorrow, actually a mostly clear sky for the day. Temperatures will be seasonably cold in the mid-20s, right where we should be, but we will start the day close to 11. With our wind chills close to 0 for us, so a very chilly start to the day.
I don't mind the cold, it's that wind.
Yes,
That
I'm not a
wind
fan of the wind either.
It'll knock you over.
It will, and it just makes everything hurt.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Dana. On that note, tomorrow here on Live at 4, we'll find out what's happening in the 608 this weekend with Emmy Fink.
And is your clothes closet a mess? Our fashion expert Shayna Mace will be here with some tips and advice for organizing and arranging your closet for the new year.
That looks nice.
That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4. In today's Final Touch, have you ever thought